My name is Sunil Prashara. I'm in my second year as the CEO and president of the Project Management Institute. And I was just saying with Manuel before the presentation that I visited Peru in November and at that last year. And who would have imagined that we are in the world that we are in now? The time we had in Peru was fantastic. I met with many, many people, students, and really got the opportunity to get to know the vibrant environment. And I hope now, 10 months or 11 months on, I hope you are all safe. And I know we are living in very, strange times all over the world. And I hope that all of you and your families and friends are all safe. So let me first of all start by saying that. A little bit about PMI. Let me just, for those of you who don't know, very quickly, so we are the Project Management Institute. We aspire to become the place to go to for all things associated with project management. And in order to do that, we have standards, we have certifications, we have best practices, thought leadership, and relationships with governments and organizations and academia from all over the world. And we have been advocating project management for 50 years and will continue to do so. The world of project management has been growing and changing, and the different ways of working. And we have been embarking on a journey of that change as well to keep ourselves relevant for what we do. In essence, what we want to be is like the go-to place, the Wikipedia, if you like, of all things project. So if you have a project that is as simple as organizing a holiday, then that's a project. And you might want to come onto our website and see, okay, what's the best way to organize a holiday or organize a party or organize building a bridge or creating a software application or building a road. Anything and everything is a project and at different stages. So we would like to be the go-to place, the place with the best practices, lessons learned, and community that you can learn from in terms of project and the skill sets required for you to be able to effectively execute on your program. We've been advocating this for 50 years. We're a very large organization, and our secret sauce actually is our volunteers. Our volunteers are the people that really advocate and amplify our message across the globe. And we have 12,000 volunteers all around the world, and they work through chapters, and we have 300 chapters around the world as well. So we've grown into a very large organization. A very important point is that we are not for profits. So we contribute any value that's created back into the community and back into the development of the standards and the services, etc. So we're not for profits, but we're also not for losses. So we are very sharp in the way we manage our businesses internally. Of course, Latin America, South America is very, very important region for us. And I mean, these facts here show why, it's a huge landmass for us, and it has tremendous opportunities and also challenges when it comes to project management, when it comes to building economy, when it comes to, population growth, et cetera, and so on and so forth. So there are many, many challenges. And we feel that as PMI, we can really help contribute from our learnings in the best way of getting work done across all of the countries in the region, to really help develop the GDP, to help enable the population with skill sets that are very relevant for today and for tomorrow. And we want to be relevant for all ages as well. So not just for the traditional project managers, but for all ages and we actually have a strategy that we call 5 to 75, meaning we want to be relevant at a very early age for children to learn some core skills that ultimately will be the platform from which they can build project management skills and develop a career in project management in the future. And then also strategic skills as they become more senior in their roles, to be able to provide leadership and skills. And I'll talk a bit about that. One of the big changes that's happening in PMI is we are seeing that the world of project management is really expanding. The types of work, the types of methods and processes and structures and formats is changing So obviously there's always been the traditional project management, what we call the waterfall methodology. And then we saw the advent of Agile, and now we see different forms of Agile, and we see hybrid models, and we see even what recently, and I'll talk a bit about it, I have a small video about citizen developer, enabling the citizen, any citizen, to be able to have the skill sets to execute and deliver on a vision or on a plan, and make that plan a reality. So we see that the community that we can really service is far bigger than just project managers. There are organizations today are looking for more people who can execute on delivery. And I think project managers are well set in that space. So even in Latin America, our target market now is 60 million change makers, not just project managers. We feel as though that we can have an impact much bigger and broader. So CLADEA, I remember it was 10, 11 months ago when we met. We were already in the discussion period about creating a relationship. And as I said, I'm super proud of it. 4 key components of that relationship is to develop content collectively, jointly, do research together, understand from each other's perspectives, and create best learning, best practices in the world of project management, integrate it with other programs, other educational initiatives that are going on to make it a component of other programs, create points of view, surveys, perhaps even create certifications jointly that are unique for CLADEA and the community within CLADEA, where we can contribute towards that. Working with you on research, I think, is a really, we're in a space right now globally where really nobody knows what the outcome is going to be. So there's so much research that's going on. I sit on many CEO panels with very senior industry leaders. None of them have an idea really of what the outcome is going to be here. They're all trying different ways. They're being super agile, and they will pivot very quickly if their idea is wrong. So there's an opportunity to do tremendous research in many areas, from technology and the use of technology in project management to the new skills required in project management or new ways of getting things done. So I think there's tremendous opportunity there. And then also many of the existing certifications and the future certifications we want to integrate with CLADEA, offer a financial discount, etc., to create bundles of some of our capabilities to support CLADEA's efforts as well. So I'm super proud of the relationship. I think there are 142 institutions, which is huge, that we can work with you on, and that's what makes it so proud. So it's not like we're doing something small here. We're doing something really big, and it's got my focus. And Ricardo, who's my MD in Latin America, is responsible for maintaining that relationship, working with Manuel directly. But Manuel knows me too, and so he can always pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Sunil, we need to go faster, or we need more support," and I'm there for you. So you need to know that. Okay, so let me go to my next slide. Here, so why should you all be thinking about project management? And this is what I want to, so this is, the next few slides are really just to position project management. And many of you will already know this, but I really want to stress some critical points, because as we go and navigate through the world of COVID, there are some tremendous challenges that organizations, individuals, and governments are facing. Individuals because they're losing their jobs, etc. Organizations because their entire business models have been disrupted, and governments because when people are losing jobs and their enterprises are being disrupted, they themselves are being disrupted significantly and are having to bail out and do all sorts of unplanned for activities to maintain their economies, and so they're also finding structure a problem. And during all of this, certain skill sets are going to be super important. And this is a report here, and you probably, hopefully you can read it, but I just wanted to highlight, this is a McKinsey report done in 2020 that shows that when you are looking at reskilling people to be able to address future ways of working, one of the most important skill sets, actually the very first one is very important, critical thinking and decision making. is becoming the skill set that enterprises and governments are saying is very, very important. In order for you to have critical thinking and the ability to be able to make decisions and be able to cut through challenging situations to get to the critical elements that are important, that is a very important skill set that you find prevalent in the world of project management, to be able to prioritize issues. But you will also see that number 3 on the list is, number 4 on the list is project management per se, as being a key skill that McKinsey is saying that organizations and individuals should be thinking about in terms of creating relevancy for the future. And of course, you will see all the IT skills there as well, which is a prerequisite now. And I'll talk a bit about that in a minute. Okay, very, very quickly about PMI. We have 3 strategic pillars. One for the foreseeable next 3-4 years. We will be amplifying the voice of our community by region. And I've appointed region heads for all the regions around the globe. The second thing, and the most important one relevant for you all here, is we're expanding our product portfolio. So over 50 years, we've been really focused on what we call the PMP and some additional sort of subcategories of the PMP. Now we're moving into new ways of working as well, which are in parallel. So for example, Agile and a few others I'm going to show you in a minute. That's very relevant for CLADEA because it gives you the opportunity to really expand on the different ways of working to educate your communities, your students in more than one specific way. And I think that's very important. It's going to be very relevant in the future as enterprises look for different ways to address particular problems. And the third thing is, as I just mentioned, is we're expanding our reach. We're going more than project management into change makers. In fact, we're outgrowing the word project management. We're getting bigger with bigger points of view, with stronger IP, with a greater breadth of impact around the globe, which means we're talking to more people, executives, youth, social activists, and beyond. And in doing so, we need to make sure, and I presented this slide, I think, 11 months ago, so it hasn't changed. And this slide really explains the 3 key areas that we want to focus on. The youth, and we already have been doing a lot of work in this space. I'll talk about that later. But the Education Foundation is a foundation that's 30 years old that is dedicated to support the youth in the world of project management. And over the 30 years, I think we have helped over 800,000 children, students and children. Actually, it's from the age of very, very young, 5, all the way up to student university age. We've helped students learn about the skills of project management and how that can create a foundation for their careers in the future, and do it in a fun way as well. So, so that we don't lose the child by teaching them how to do scheduling, but we teach them how to be, how to respect their parents, which are like stakeholders, right? As a good example. And then there's our core, which is the project management discipline. So as you start to become more involved in work and you move from a student into a work environment, then we have a number of certifications. And this is the area we're adding new ones, and you'll see some strange names there. Disciplined Agile is an acquisition that we made last year. Wicked Problem Solving is a design thinking framework and tool set that helps people really think through very complex operational challenges and issues. It's a fantastic tool set, and that will be launching this year, later on in the year. Power skills is super important. What are power skills? I'm going to explain those in a minute. And citizen development, I have a small video where I'm going to share that with you as well. And then Brightline is, you may have be aware of, Brightline is our investment in the strategic side of project management. And what I mean by that is wholesale, large, transformational initiatives. So if an organization is going through a digital transformation, or if an organization is deciding to launch into another region its operations, or is going to build submarine cables from one part of the world to the other part of the world, or telco, major expansion. So large transformational initiatives that require a strategic mindset to help them make those big changes. And we've been creating fantastic points of view through our Brightline initiative, and you can see that if you go on our website, about how to do digital transformation. So by doing this, we create that line from the 5-year-old right through their careers, and you see on the left-hand side, managing a junior team all the way up to managing an enterprise. You know, that's the concept of this slide. Of course, you know, and I won't bore you with this, but we have all standards, and we were not going to, as we start to lean forward, we're not going to forget our heritage and the core, which is around, you know, classical project management, because by far the vast majority of expenditure in the world is in infrastructure construction and your more traditional project management areas. So we'll continue to build those and our points of view on those. One of the things that I wanted to touch on is we feel that the way work is going to be conducted in the future will be very different to the way it has been done in the past, and that COVID has just accelerated our point of view on here. We see the world moving into what we call a projectified situation, where because of technology, much of the knowledge or the system or the workflows and the processes for some of the activities that are conducted at work can be automated. And in fact, originally it was the repetitive tasks, and machine learning and robotics was replacing humans in repetitive tasks. That's happened. The next phase, as you will all know, is cognitive thinking, and with AI and machine learning, many of the cognitive decision-making roles are also becoming automated and supplemented by machines. And what that means is that organizations are starting to think about, well, do I actually even need to have a functional department called finance or a functional department called HR? Because much of the content, the knowledge in those departments, the reason why they were created is because there needed to be functional knowledge about HR and functional knowledge about finance. But if that functional knowledge is becoming codified and systemized, then we don't need those functions anymore. We need people who can execute on work. And so that you are starting to see the development of organizations which are organized by the type of work that needs to be done by project. And so you're seeing projects and teams of projects, and not as being the priority, and functional responsibilities being a secondary, and teams moving from function to function, executing programs. And there are companies in Denmark that are doing this today. So we believe that this is going to expand and grow, and we'll see a proliferation of project work as a consequence of this. And we call that the project economy. On top of that, very quickly, what we see is you have probably heard the term VUCA, volatile, uncertain, you know, complex, and the A stands for ambiguous. So an ambiguous world, full of uncertainty, very complex, and very volatile. And these are words that have been explained in the last 3, 4, 5 years, and people have been saying, hey, we are moving into a VUCA world. But I would say that we are moving into an even worse situation. The VUCA world was there when I was a child at university. There was a VUCA world. You know, I think now what is happening is we're seeing shocks happening to organizations. COVID is a great example of a shock. We knew months in advance that we knew years in advance there could be a potential pandemic, because there have been several before, but it was still a shock. And a lot of organizations were caught, and they didn't know how to react, and they didn't have the capabilities to react. They sensed it, but they didn't have the speed of delivery to be able to execute. That was a flaw in the competencies of the organization, the skill sets of the organizations, in the experiences of the people in the organization. It's a big problem, and it's a problem that we are trying to address. And certainly CLADEA, in terms of the way you educate your communities and the students, should be conscious of the fact that, you know, as we now move in post-COVID, organizations absolutely will want to have the ability to be able to sense and take action at pace. In fact, they will need to become gymnastic. And you may have heard me say a lot about the gymnastic organization, which are organizations that are grounded in structure, form, method, governance, but at the same time, they are nimble, agile, fast-moving, flexible, and they have the ability to critique and the ability to be able to make decisions at pace when they sense something coming. These are new skills that not just that CEO is expected to have, or his leadership team, but the entire organization, all the way from the personal assistant all the way through the organization, right up to the CEO, to be agile, to be nimble, to be flexible, but at the same time have structure. And you think about a gymnast, you think that a gymnast, when they come out to do their performance, you don't think about the years of hard work and training that they have had to do. What you look at is the way they perform on the stage, and they look amazing, they look nimble, they look flexible, but it's all coordinated. They all know what they're doing. And then the difference between an 8 and a 10 at the Olympic Games is the person who can jump the highest, or the person who can do the most flips, or the person that can do something that's extraordinary, different. And that's the only way they're going to win the gold medal. And I think organizations are going to strive to be there. To do that, they need certain skills. And at PMI, and this is one of the things that I would like to work with CLADEA on, is we've broken that down into 3 key areas. We call it the talent triangle. Different ways of working. Originally, it was the project management methodology, but we're expanding that to include more things like Agile, etc. I'll show you that in a minute. Business acumen is becoming critical. Critical in the past, it was understanding specifically about the impact of a project economically, but now the expectation in organizations is everyone needs to understand the strategic direction of the organization, and therefore they can, when they're looking at the projects that they do, they look at it with a strategic mindset. So they need business acumen. And then finally, they need what we call power skills. Power skills are the skills that are inherently human. And I've got a slide that will show you what those are. But I want to focus on ways of working. And I have 2 videos, very short ones. One on Agile, which is a different approach to the traditional prescriptive way of project management. And we made some acquisitions in that place. I just want to play it. It's just for a 1-minute video. So hopefully this works.
Discipline Agile is an agnostic toolkit that captures Agile, Lean, traditional, and other techniques and puts them into context, helping you to decide which is the right strategy for you in the situation that you face. We like to observe that Agile frameworks and methods will give you a fish, where in DA, we like to extend that and teach you how to fish, to teach you and provide the guidance to you to choose your own way of working, to choose your wow.
You may be wondering why disciplined Agile. A common approach to training your teams is to send them for a couple of days of training, and they go back to their jobs and they're expected to figure things out for themselves. That is not a very good approach. It's time consuming and it's expensive. A better approach is to teach the teams how to customize their way of working, teach them how to choose their wow, so that they can create a flavor of Agile that makes sense for their unique company, their industry, the teams and individuals on those teams. With the DA toolkit, you can do this. You will learn better strategies, fit for context strategies, so that you can tailor your Agile to what makes sense for you.
So the reason why I wanted to show this video is because CLADEA has the opportunity to work with us. We have bought Discipline Agile, and Agile it's been around for a long time, but there are many organizations that have different frameworks around the Agile world and the Agile manifesto. We think there's an opportunity to be an overlay across all of those and really provide an opportunity for students to pick the right way of working, or learn about all the different ways of working within the Agile space. And what organizations are looking for is, how can I take Agile and make it an enterprise-wide methodology thinking? So it doesn't matter whether you are studying economics or you're studying human resources or finance, etc. Having Agile as part of your curricula and understanding discipline Agile probably at the practical level to start with would be a very good thing to do. And we should think about how we can work together to co-create something that's relevant for students in this space, because we see this as being a big expansion for us. Let me talk to you about Citizen Developer. This is a new one that we just launched 2 days ago. So some of you may have heard of Citizen Developer. In a nutshell, what this means is enabling everyone outside of the IT department to be able to create solutions, software solutions, without the need to have to go to the IT department and without the need to learn any coding language. So it's called low code, no code applications. And there are many, this is a huge market and it's growing very, very fast. Microsoft is saying that by 2030, there will be 500 million applications, enterprise applications created. 450 million of those will be created by citizens, not by IT departments or software houses, etc., but by general citizens who have been enabled by using what's called a low-code, no-code platform, or platforms which allow you to create solutions without the need to do the coding. You don't have to learn Java, you don't have to learn SQL, you have to understand the workflows that you're trying to automate. And it's called citizen developer. The problem with citizen developer is it can create chaos. If everybody is enabled to create all sorts of solutions, if you're in a company, in an enterprise, then the last thing you want is everybody creating their own applications using their own tools and so on, with disregard to security and all those things. So this is where PMI comes in to help create the framework. And again, this is brand new. It's just come out 48 hours ago, frankly. We have just launched this. It's another area that CLADEA can work with us. We see this as a skill set that the youth can learn as part of their education program in advance, because we know that organizations are going to be really looking for kids who have been trained in some form of citizen developer, not the tool to code, but the consequences of using citizen developer in a uncoordinated, unstructured way, and understanding the consequences of the risks associated with using citizen developer. Many organizations are looking for this right now. And here's a small video, again, 1 minute, just to show you.
For organizations to stay relevant, they need to be able to digitally transform their business. But with a global shortage of software developers, how can they advance the technical capability necessary to respond to rapidly changing markets, create innovative products and services, and deliver improvements in performance? Citizen development is the answer, where anyone in an organization can now use simple visual interfaces to build powerful apps significantly faster and at a fraction of the cost. These no-code or low-code platforms are democratizing how we build software solutions, putting the power in everyone's hands and reducing reliance on an overburdened IT team. And by 2023, it's expected that citizen developers will outnumber professional coders by 4 times. But there's still a lot to learn. And with no clear methodology or proper governance in place, organizations will struggle to unlock their full potential. It's time to take action now. PMI is bridging the gap between digital aspiration and effective strategy execution, offering books, courses, certifications, assessments, and a global online community, all designed to help organizations create an environment where citizen development flourishes. With an understanding of citizen developer best practices, teams can use any low-code or no-code platform to turn ideas into apps with no coding experience needed. Whether you're developing the next big mobile app, creating a bespoke CRM, or building an online community portal, PMI empowers people to unlock the full power and productivity of citizen development. If you're looking for basic training or specialized certifications, PMI can help you learn what it takes to safely and securely build applications in your organization at scale. Set the foundations for citizen development inside your organization today. Turn your ideas into apps. Learn more with PMI.
So I wanted to show both these videos because these are 2 areas where I think that CLADEA and PMI can collaborate and come up with thought leadership, thinking, best practices, and ideas for education in both disciplined Agile and also in citizen developers. So Manuel, for you to action with Ricardo to see if there's interest from CLADEA to work with us in both of these areas. You have the opportunity to create something together, which will be relevant for your communities. So I just wanted to share both of those to say we're open to work with you on these two very big initiatives. Okay, after this power skills, I think I'm conscious of time, so I wanted to spend more time on questions, but I wanted to talk about power skills. And what we're seeing happen now as a result of all the technology changes and the transformations that are taking place in enterprises around the world there is a greater emphasis on what we call the softer skills. And the softer skills, a better word for those are the power skills. They're becoming super important. And there are things like the ability to be able to manage teams. Having a social responsibility is becoming super important. The ones that are really popular at the moment and in demand are empathy, because we are working on WebExes for 90% of our time now, in a virtual environment. Having empathy with the people that you are interacting with online is becoming super important, especially when it comes to getting projects done. Having collaborative leadership, understanding the culture of the people and the environment that they're living in, and then helping them and leading them and guiding them to execute on programs in a virtual world is a very tough skill, and it's something that you can learn. And so we see collaborative leadership, and then also having the humbleness to not just be, if you're a leader, to not just to be the mentor for others, but also be mentorable yourself. Something that we are really advocating is reverse mentoring. I have a mentor who's in their 20s who's mentoring me about the way the youth think today. So it's having that humbleness to be able to learn from each other, different age groups, different cultures, different environments. So being mentorable and being a mentor as well. And if you think if you don't think that's important, this is the top 10 skills that were issued by the World Economic Forum just 2 days ago. And I'll leave this slide with you, but if you look at what they are, it's very compelling. Analytical thinking, complex problem solving, the future skills for 2025, leadership and social influence. Of course, you're going to have technology. It's critical. It's table stakes. Technology and understanding of technology, but reasoning, problem solving, ideation, innovation, active learning, rather than in-depth knowledge of a specific area or a specific type of topic. It's all about application. That's what organizations are looking for. And I feel that we can work together to really embrace these and say, okay, what does this mean for CLADEA and what does it mean for us at PMI? Okay, I'm just going to very quickly, what does it mean? All of this, it means organizations need to be ready for the future. They need to be gymnastic. They're looking for people that are gymnastic mentally. They're looking for people with ambidextrous skills that can understand technology, but have all of these power skills. They're looking for making change happen fast. Change is going to be the big thing for organizations now as they start to stand up after COVID. We will reach a point when it's after COVID, and they will need people to stand up. And project management skills are expanding and developing into more skills, such that all organizations, if they're going to move to a projectified world, they will want all their employees to have some of these skills. So it's going to become very important. And McKinsey is saying that. We are seeing it ourselves through our research. And when we do some research with you, you will see it too, that this is coming out as a significant area that we should focus on together. Okay, so I love our partnership. I think there's so much more we can do together. Co-creation with partners is the way forward. For us, we see that as the future of work. Training and certifications are a great way to take risk off the table, and we live in a very risky world. We need to respond fast. So we know that training and certifications help organizations at least appreciate that the individual that they're seeing for a role has a degree of knowledge and expertise. And we're in a world of sharing now. We have to be sharing. We're in a social world where people are waking up to some of the ways of working in the past that we don't want to take into the future. So sharing ideas, sharing best practices.